Hey y'all, so today I wanted to talk about the original man and the creation of Eve. I can't speak for any other part of the world, but the prevailing theory among most English speakers, especially in America, is that when man was created, the original man was Adam, as in a male, and that from one of his ribs, the female, Eve was created. Upon reading the scripture and studying it, and especially looking at the original Hebrew that was used, I've come to a much different conclusion, and I think that it makes a huge difference in the understanding of this scripture. So the word Adam, or as it's pronounced in the Hebrew, Adam, is only used as a proper name 13 times according to the Strong's Concordance translation of the King James Version of the Bible. The prevailing translation or word that's used for Adam, though, used almost 530 times in the Torah, is a general word for mankind as a whole. Keep that in mind as we go forward, because once we get to Genesis chapter 2, 21 and 22, where most translations rendered that the helpmeet for Adam was created from one of his ribs, the word that's used for ribs here is the Hebrew word silah. Now, the word silah in the Strong's Concordance, based off the King James translation or version, is used 41 times in the Torah, also known as the Old Testament to Christians. So the most common word that the word silah is translated to in the Old Testament, used 19 times in this way, means side. If you look at the book of Exodus, when it's talking about the Ark of the Covenant, the word Selah is used, talking about the sides of the Ark of the Covenant. It's used 11 times, such as in the book of Kings and in the book of Ezekiel, as meaning a side chamber to a room. How many times is the word Selah translated into the word rib in the Old Testament, though? Only 2 times. Once in Genesis chapter 2, verse 21, and chapter 2, 22 of Genesis. Now, why do I find this important? From what I've noticed of people's opinions coming from the prevailing theory that Eve came from a rib of Adam, people seem to take this that Eve is a lesser being than Adam, because Eve came from such a small part of Adam. But the understanding that I've come to from looking at the cultural, historical, and linguistic context is that the original man wasn't the proper Adam who was a male, but that this original human was equal parts male and female, reflecting the full image of God, and that when God deemed that it was not good for this original human to be alone, he split this original human into 2 separate, opposite, yet complementary parts that became male and female. Now, I don't expect anybody to just take my word for it, but I would encourage you to study and look at the context of what you're reading, because especially if you're going to stake your life and your faith on these scriptures, then it only seems fair to me to want to understand it as best as we can and to put forth tremendous effort to understanding it. But don't take my word for it. I encourage you to study and learn these things for yourself. Love y'all.